Hi, I'm Larry London, and this is Border Crossings. On today's show, singer-songwriter Emily Hearn. Emily is on tour promoting her latest album, Hourglass, and she will join us to perform several songs from her new album. Emily says she gets her inspiration from Taylor Swift, Katy Perry, and some of today's hottest pop stars. Her new CD contains songs about love, some happy and some not so happy. Emily's music has been used on popular TV shows, and she will tell us her story coming up on today's Border Crossings with Emily Hearn. Welcome to Border Crossings. My name is Larry London. We have a music star in our studio. She's a singer and a songwriter, and she's on the road for a brand new album, which is called Hourglass. We welcome to Washington, D.C. and Border Crossings, Emily Hearn. Welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here, and congratulations on the new album. I know this is an exciting time for an artist to put out their very first album.
Yes, thank you so much.
And how long have you been working on this? I guess it took a while to put it together.
Yeah, full-length albums in particular take a lot longer to make than, say, an EP. So I put out a 5-song EP last October that only took a month or two to really put together. But this full-length album took a little over a year. And it was it was intentional. I mean, they normally take about a year, but we ended up pushing the release a little bit to make it more special. So I'm excited.
And your story is an interesting and special story. You come from a small town. And I assume, because I didn't ask off air, but I'll assume this is your husband,
yes.
The man who helps to collaborate, create, produce, write everything with you, and kind of the inspiration for a lot of what you do.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, Michael and I met on a blind date on Valentine's Day in 2011, and he was in a different band at the time, actually, and I was playing heartbreak songs all over the place, and eventually I roped him into my band, and we started writing songs together, and it's been about how long? Like 3 years of doing that together?
Yep. Been married for 2.5.
Yep.
And I guess when you're writing songs, and now that you're married and he's very much a part of your career, you can't write heartbreak songs anymore because the alarm lights will be going off.
Exactly.
What's up? What do you think in this? What do you feel in that? Who's that about?
Right, yeah. We do a little bit of co-writing with other people. So, I mean, when we write together, we normally try to focus on songs that are about us or songs that are about people that we know. But sometimes I like, as an exercise, or it's fun and therapeutic for me to write about other stories, other people's lives. And so I guess heartbreak songs could still come into play, but they wouldn't be about us.
Yeah. And one of the songs that you wrote early on was written together on vacation in Michigan.
Yes. Well, it was sort of vacation. We were on tour, on a big, long tour, so we had like 3 weeks on and then 1 week off in Michigan. So we treated it sort of like vacation, but it was very snowy and cold, and I had written a bunch of songs that I did not like up until this point. So we were like, this writing trip needs to be special. And I remember we wrote the 3 really foundation songs for this album. So we wrote the Oak Tree first. We wrote the song that's the last song on the album, Worth Fighting For. And we also wrote Thank God You're Holding Me. So those are 3 of my favorites.
And I am a Michigan boy. I grew up in Michigan. Interlochen is not the first place to come to mind for inspiration for songs.
No, I mean, I've heard that it's beautiful in the summer, but we were there in February, so it was very cold. And you hear some of the lyrics kind of have colder feelings. I mean, Worth Fighting For has a couple of lyrics that say frozen lake and all that kind of stuff. So it's very much inspired by the cold.
Well, we're going to talk more about this new album and the songs and the process, and also a special star in one of your videos. We'll talk about that as well. But we're going to ask you to do a song for us now, if you wouldn't mind, Emily Hearn,
yes,
on Border Crossings.
This song is called Waking Up Again.
It's been so cold for so long now, I don't remember what the sun feels like we're getting old inside this house. I don't remember what the breeze feels like. We've gotta go, we gotta get back, gotta get our feet back on the ground. We've gotta go, we gotta get back, gotta get the spring back in our step again. And it's like, oh, 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 it's like waking up again. So don't let go, oh, oh, open up your eyes again. And when you're gone, you're so far gone, you don't remember what you want in life. I'll take your hand, I'll give you faith, I'll never let you go, I'm on your side. But we've gotta go, we gotta get back, gotta get our feet back on the ground. We've gotta go, we gotta get back, gotta get the spring back in our step again. And it's like, oh, 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 it's like waking up again. So don't let go, oh, oh, open up your eyes again. And it's like, oh, 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 it's like waking up again. So don't let go, oh, oh, open up your eyes again. Oh, 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 it's like waking up again. Oh, 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 it's like waking up again. Oh, oh, oh,
Wow, sounding great. Emily Hearn.
Thank you.
Live on Border Crossings. It's TV, radio, and streaming on the web.
Yes.
In our cameras, who are in our studios right now. But thank you for coming by and doing this for us. Now, it's amazing you use the whole thing, the looping, the technology. You put it all. Is this part of the stage show, too, that you do the looping and everything?
Yes, it is. We actually have tried. We made a full band album, and we're touring mostly as a duo. So we were like, how are we going to play all these parts? So we figured out a way to use all of our limbs at once and do the looper. We have a sample player, the keyboard, the stomp box. So we just kind of pass it around. It's
Technology
really
is
fun.
wonderful. I mean, it's widened the whole industry. You can do so much more and be very creative these days with all the different things and the tools and the toys.
Yes, it's really fun. It's the most fun to me.
Now, it's an interesting career choice. I know you kind of got started a little later, from what I read, that you didn't write your first song until you were already in your teens,
Yes.
late teens, and then you made a decision a few years ago, this is what you wanted to do. Interesting choice for somebody who suffers from stage fright.
I know. I thought the same thing for the first few years. But somewhere along the way, I really just fell in love with performing and with writing. And I actually always wanted to write books. So I went to school at the University of Georgia to study journalism. And I started writing songs not to play for people, just kind of processing my own feelings. And then Athens being a very music-friendly town with tons of venues, I started playing, and before I knew it, kind of years went by, and I was playing in more states, and now I tour nationwide.
And it's interesting. I talked to several different artists who have also dealt with overcoming some, insecurities about performing in front of large audiences and made it in the music business. And one most notable, Beyonce,
Really?
who's created the alter ego Sasha Fierce.
Wow.
I mean, something that helps her escape any insecurities that she might have. Do you have
Yeah.
an alter ego? Have you ever thought of another part of Emily that you kind of turn to before you go on stage when all those faces are staring at you?
Well, I'm not going to lie to you. When I was when I was first starting out, I had this sort of alter ego that I called Emmeline Flowers. And actually my publishing company is called Emmeline Flowers now. So, but I don't really channel like my inner Emmeline or anything. I mean, I just liked the name at the time, and I felt like if I could be someone else, then maybe I wouldn't be so nervous. But it's all, I mean, I think that once you kind of accept that what you have to say is just a part of who you are, and that's all you can do, that's all you can be, is just be yourself. And so I think that over time I've stopped caring so much about the negative thoughts and learned to appreciate the positive thoughts that I get from people. Mm-hmm. So it's worked out.
And you have a great sound, too. I mean, there's not enough of the actual singer-songwriter sounds right now. It's very, we talked about technology. It's all electronic, dancey stuff these days on the radio. But your sound is very nice. Very raw, very down-to-earth, organic.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, it's true. I enjoyed the CD Hourglass, and I know your fans will, too. Around the world, do you plan to tour internationally?
I want to. So that's the next goal. This is our first real nationwide tour. Our first tour that we do all at once. So we hit the West Coast earlier this month, and now we're going up the East Coast. But next goal is a Europe tour.
Ah, wonderful.
That would be awesome.
Now, you filmed a video with one of the most famous comedic actors around, Bill Murray. Now, and he was, very funny in the video, creative. It looks like you let him do his own thing to an extent. So how did you get Bill Murray to perform in your music video?
Well, I actually just submitted my song to a film company, and they were trying to get into music videos, and so they were just looking for someone to do a song for free. And so I submitted, and my song won, which was really exciting. And my friend Mark Bryan, who lives in Charleston, was helping us out, kind of managing everything, and he is friends with Bill Murray. And so I didn't even know this at the time, and I didn't know really anything about the video. So I get down to Charleston, and they're debriefing me the night before, and they just mention, oh, we might have a celebrity guest. We've invited Bill Murray. Who knows if he'll be there? He just kind of shows up when he feels like it. But he showed up, and he brought coffee, and he was really nice. You definitely expect him to be funny, and he was. But he was also just so nice and fun to be around. We hung out for about an hour, and after we wrapped on this music video, about 6 months later, he came out to one of my shows. So I really kind of feel like we're friends.
Well, that's great. Not everyone can say that. So that's super when you got somebody like Bill Murray enjoying what you do and starring in your videos. Yeah. Emily Hearn is with us here on Border Crossings today. It's Hourglass, the name of the debut studio album. And you said you have a couple of EPs or an EP.
I do. I have 2 EPs and one other full-length album that I've released over time. But this is my favorite. This
is your favorite. Now, what is different about this from what you've done in the past? Is there anything musically you thought, let's change it up a little bit, approach it differently?
Yeah, absolutely. I've written a lot about love in the past, and I love love songs. I think that those are some of the most special songs and the most touching songs that are out there. But having written a lot about love in the past, we wanted to touch on other subjects in life. And there's definitely a few love songs on there, but it's also a wider range of topics. And it actually turned into something, even though this wasn't always the goal. It turned into sort of a commentary on growing up. So it's a lot of emotions, but not all love emotions, which I'm excited about.
Great. Well, we'd like to hear another song if you would be willing to sing for us and perform. Emily Hearn here on Border Crossings today.
Kicking the dust up, I'm wearing out my shoes. I can't make my mind up, I've got too much to lose. I'm old enough to leave home, but way too young to know what I should do. I'm treading water, I'm trying to keep my head above the ground. 1, 2, 3. So would you come with me up to the oak tree? Time will stop for us again. Look back, remember when? Yeah, we were just 18 under the oak tree. safer than we'd ever been. Hold on to innocence. Where has the time gone? I'm feeling old and gray, trying to breathe revival into my broken ways. I'm old enough to leave home, but way too young to carry all the blame. I'm treading water, I'm trying to keep my head above the ground. So would you come with me up to the oak tree? Time will stop for us again. Look back, remember when? Yeah, we were just 18 under the oak tree, safer than we'd ever been. Hold on to innocence. And we were young, oh, we were young, and we had time. And how I hate the feeling that time, it keeps slipping away. Oh, the child in me is kicking. Don't let a moment pass, 'cause I can't bear to witness my parents age so fast. They're way too young to fly home, and I can't stand to watch the hourglass. I'm treading water, I'm trying to keep my head above the ground. I'm treading water, I'm trying to keep time from running out. So would you come with me up to the oak tree? How time will stop for us again. Look back, remember when? Yeah, we were just 18 under the oak tree, safer than we'd ever been. Hold on to innocence. And we were young, oh, we were young, and we had time. Oh, to be young, oh, to be young, and to have time.
It's Emily Hearn. She's here on Border Crossings today on tour for Hourglass, which is the new album. And you are compared to Taylor Swift. How does that feel when you hear that comparison?
Oh my gosh. I mean, that's an honor. I love her. I think that she's the most fantastic songwriter and a great role model for a lot of people. And so that is an honor.
Now, I understand from the things I've heard about you that writing is what you did first and foremost. Did you ever see yourself as a singer? Was that part of the plan for you, or? Well,
I sang some solos in church when I was young, and I was always terribly shy. So I don't think that anyone ever thought, you should be a singer. I think that most people from back home, which is Griffin, Georgia, are surprised that this is what I do. But I don't know. I have always loved to sing, and I've always loved musicals, and I've always tried out for plays. Can't say that I got any leading roles or anything. So it was really something that happened just a little bit later in college, really.
Are you still writing books, too? Because you said you'd liked writing or wanted to be a book writer. Are you writing books? What are you writing about?
Well, actually, right now, I'm not writing a novel. I'm writing a travel book because we do a lot of traveling. And so we have a really fun time finding the best food and the best... I mean, donuts are one of our things, but also the best ways to be active in certain cities, like the best parks or the best bike rides. So I'm writing a little compilation of my favorite cities and my favorite things to do in those cities.
Now, it must be difficult when you do everything together. Everything. And the love is great, and it's been, it's new love. It's a few years, but you do everything. You work together and you play together.
Yeah.
How do you find me time? How do you separate? Or do you
Well,
at this point?
it's pretty funny because a lot of our friends who are newlyweds are struggling to find time to spend together. And we actually have to set aside time to spend apart. We have to be really intentional with our time, that when we're working together, we make time for dates and that kind of stuff, because working is totally different than like having a relationship. But yeah, we have some intentional separate time.
Any talk about a family? Is that part of the plan? For
Of course,
the near
it's part of the
future,
plan,
distant
but
future?
probably the distant future.
The distant future. Now, how did you two meet? I know it was at college, but were you both doing music at the time? Is that what drew you together? What was it? How did you come together?
Yeah, I was playing in a band. We were actually, the band I was in was playing a show in Athens, and the band that was opening for us was apparently, there was a friend of Emily's that was in that band, and so she was at the show and bumped into literally our only mutual friend, the only person that we both knew in town. And I think they ran into each other like a couple times in that same week, and eventually I think he said, "Hey, can I give your number to Michael? Because, I know him, he's a great guy, whatever." And so he literally set us up, and we went out on Valentine's Day, which was kind of an accident, but turned out to be okay.
Well, that's great. And a lot of couples fight over, who left the towels, the wet towels in the bathroom, or who didn't wash their dishes and stuff like that. But you guys may be arguing over what song makes it on the next album, or what key to sing it in, or something like that.
Yeah.
So
Or
that's
who drives the car.
who drives the car. Now, what is this tour going to be all about? Speaking of traveling around, you're going throughout the United States, and how long is the tour? For musicians, I guess you never stop touring, but
No, but this one is about halfway over. We've just started the second leg of this tour. So it's, I think, 34 shows total, but it spans over almost 3 months. So we left on March 9th, which was the day before we released Hourglass. And we've been to New York, drove all the way across the country to San Francisco to start the tour. So we made that drive in literally 3 days.
well, I hate to ask a cliche kind of question, but what's been the highlight for you so far with all 2 albums, 2 EPs? What's been, the biggest moment so far?
Well, actually, I recently got a call to open up a show for Nick Jonas, who
great.
I think he's fantastic. And so that was one of the biggest crowds I've ever performed in front of. And it was so
It was really fun.
awesome.
Yeah.
Did he have a shirt on or off for this show?
I think the
He
shirts
stripped
came
down
off
over
as the
time.
show went
You
on.
gotta try that, Michael.
I
The
know.
shirt comes off in the middle of the show. Emily Hearn is here. Now, Hourglass went up to, I think it was number 5 or 6 on the iTunes chart. So that's great. Congratulations. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
I
We
mean,
were
must
excited.
be. Yeah, I mean, and when you hear your songs on the radio now, what's the feeling? What do you feel when you hear
it's-
yourself?
It's crazy. We heard a couple songs on the radio, and we've also had a couple of songs show up in TV shows, which is almost even more surreal because you're watching a popular TV show knowing that other people are watching it, and then your song defines a moment.
Right.
We actually had the song that we might play you guys next, in the TV show called Jane the Virgin. It's on the CW, and it was in this big breakup scene. And so people were commenting on my YouTube for days, "I think she should be with him. I think she should be with him." So it was funny.
One day you're going to tune into Grey's Anatomy, and there you are.
I think
oh my
that's actually
God.
the dream. That would
That
be
is
That's
the
the
dream.
goal, huh? Stitch him up. Oh, here's a little Emily Hearn music.
Yeah,
Exactly.
All right. Well, if you wouldn't mind doing another song, we would love to
Yes.
have.
absolutely.
Of course.
What's this called?
This one's called Volcano.
And what's the inspiration?
This is actually one of those songs, like I was telling you earlier, that we sat down with a friend of ours and we wrote from a separate inspiration. So we wrote a song about heartbreak and about losing someone that's important to you. So it's a little bit of a heavy moment on the record.
Okay, Emily Hearn.
It's one of my favorites.
My heart was falling, now it's shattered. It's like a natural disaster. We were fire and hope, now we're ashes and smoke. Love burns. sometimes dreams just turn to dust. Oh, sometimes love just ain't enough. Ooh, baby, we're ashes and smoke, like a volcano gone cold. Maybe love just ain't enough. Like a volcano, gone cold. Like a volcano, gone cold. Ooh, baby, we're ashes and smoke, like a volcano gone cold. Maybe love just ain't enough.
Gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. Emily Hearn on Border Crossings. And so now you're living in a small town and you recorded some of the album in New York. Are you getting any pressure to move to New York or Los Angeles, to the bigger city, now that you want to, really dive in there and pursue this 100%?
There's always thoughts about that, and even Nashville is a great place to move. But in our experience, it's been the best case for us to tour because, we're gone most of the year and then have a really low-key place to settle down where we feel very at home and there's no work pressure for, a couple weeks out of the year. So Athens, Georgia has been really, really good to us.
Good place to escape, too, from all the hustle and bustle. Well, thank you guys for coming on the show. Where can people get your album? How can they reach out and touch you if they want to find you on social media?
Yes, this is a great time to come out and see a show because we're really busy traveling pretty much everywhere. So check out our tour schedule on emilyhearn.com, and you can find us on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all that. So it's just all at Emily Hearn.
And while you're sitting there watching the show, if you're wondering, is that Bill Murray sitting next to me? It might be. But thank you guys for coming on the program.
Well,
Thanks for
you so
having
much.
us.
Hourglass is the name of the album. It's Emily Hearn. She's been our guest today. I'm Larry London, and you are watching Border Crossings.